essential minerals and vitamins to do this. Milk drinking by children can prevent muscle problems due to protein and vitamin B12 deficiency, and rickets due to vitamin D deficiency. It is widely assumed that milk helps strengthen bones in adults because of natural calcium, phosphorus, and in many countries, supplement vitamin D. Many governments and doctors recommend adults drink up to a pint a day for bone health. The latest data simply doesn't support this. We might have guessed this 30 years ago from observational data, as the biggest milk drinkers in Europe, despite being the tallest, have the greatest rates of bone fractures, and the Chinese and Japanese, with traditionally low milk intakes, have the lowest. Without any obvious benefit to bones in adults, is there any health advantage? The big concern over milk has been heart disease and weight gain due to the outdated view of animal fats. The nutrient-sensing pathway that milk activates, mTOR, is clearly useful in early growth, but has been linked to cancer, aging, and heart disease mechanisms. Epidemiological studies also recently confirmed a correlation between cow's milk consumption and birth weight, body fat, earlier onset of fertility in girls, growing taller during childhood, but unfortunately increased acne. Most whole milk is skimmed by industrially spinning it in a large centrifuge, which separates the perfectly balanced liquid into two streams, fatty cream and fat-free milk. The thin milk is then sent to a condenser and spray dried to remove water and make it more concentrated. What is left is all the carbs, no fats, and far less of the original chemicals and nutrients. Studies have consistently failed to show any advantage of swapping to low-fat milk on blood fat profiles. Low-fat milk has no advantages over whole milk for weight control. In children, the evidence actually suggests greater long-term weight gain with reduced fat milk than with full-fat milk. We have vastly oversimplified milk as many fats and calcium, and ignored most of the hundreds of other components that interact with our immune and metabolic system. The small proteins that could switch aging or cancer pathways off or on, like mTOR, and even the chemicals lining the fat globules that can be anti-inflammatory, but all play a part in our health, especially as infants. We stupidly believe that we could just process the milk industrially to remove the fatty layer, and this would leave all the healthy soluble. The fat-soluble vitamins and nutrients get eliminated when you remove the saturated fat content, including vitamins A, D, E, and K, as well as healthy fatty acids like omega-3, which grass-fed cows will have high levels of. This is another good reason children should not have low-fat milk. Our reductionist view of milk deluded us into thinking we can easily replicate human breast milk with formula foods for babies. Companies add at least 20 substances to powdered cow's milk to get a close match, but they are nowhere near this goal of achieving a process-complete replacement. New technology shows there are several thousand interacting chemicals in breast milk that have evolved over millennia to be healthy, that will never be replicated by formula milk. These include hundreds or possibly thousands of large sugars called HMOs that are more common than proteins, whose sole role is to feed an infant's gut microbes. They are highly tailored and individualized, changing at every feed according to baby's needs, and although we understand very little about them, they do contain many key immune-regulating proteins, like immunoglobulin and lactoferrin, to help keep babies healthy in the first months of life as their immune systems develop. If you can't breastfeed, don't despair, as milk formulas are all tightly regulated and standardized and do a good job whatever the price, as long as you get cow's milk. magically appears if you forget where you left your milk, or if you cool it down after heating, allowing lactose-loving microbes to acidify the milk and curdle the milk protein. As well as the milk, most yogurt makers add microbe cultures after pasteurization. These break down the lactose and produce lactic acid, making the yogurt acidic and keeping other, potentially harmful microbes away. Yogurt was just another convenient way to store and drink milk before refrigerators. Until, in the early 1900s, an eccentric Russian scientist and later Nobel Prize winner Ilya Mechnikov noticed that Bulgarian peasants had extremely good health and longevity. He believed that putrefaction in our guts was causing common disease and ill health and could be reversed by the microbes in yogurt. His work in the Pasteur Institute stimulated entrepreneurs such as Catalan Isaac Progreso, who founded Danone in 1990, and Dr. Shirota, who founded Yakult in Japan in 1930. They transformed yogurt from a peasant food to a specialized pharmacy business, then a multi-billion-dollar food market. There is a catch. Most yogurt is high in saturated fat, and due to low-fat indoctrination, it can be difficult to find healthy, natural, full-fat versions containing the original nutrients and viable microbes of the milk. Instead, most yogurt found in supermarkets is heavily processed, using full or partial dairy substitutes and extra protein and starch. Many also now have much added sugar, vanilla or sweetness, with children's yogurt topping the charts for added sugar. In short, children's yogurts should be avoided. Real yogurt is much more expensive and is often now sold as set yogurt, concentrated or strained yogurt, and takes several litres of quality milk to produce, which unfortunately poses environmental and ethical issues. Turkish and Greek natural yogurts are natural, full-fat strained versions, while labne in the Middle East has a pinch of salt added and is then strained to a thick, creamy consistency. Through clever marketing, all Greek yogurt has become synonymous with this good, thick, full-fat strained yogurt, but as is often the case, names are deceptive. Most supermarket strained yogurt doesn't now come from Greece or even Greek milk, and in the UK is called Greek-style full-fat yogurt. It's important to read the label carefully, as market research has found huge variability between different types. Overall, Greek natural yogurts seem to have a higher percentage of protein, more live cultures, and lower amounts of sugar than their fruit or vanilla-flavoured counterparts. At a national meeting I spoke at in 2017, only 1 in 10 British GPs had ever heard of kefir, but that is changing fast. Soured milks, like kefir, are a more liquid drink than yogurt and include many national variants, including Scandinavian sour or ropey milks, kumis from Central Asia, which is slightly fizzy and alcoholic, and ayran from Turkey, which is salty and frothy. Kefir is very common in Central Asia, the Balkans and Eastern Europe, and now is commonplace in the UK. Kefir means good feeling in Turkish, and may have originated in the Caucasus Mountains. Legend has it that the Prophet Muhammad taught the shepherds how to drop special mysterious grains into goat's milk and transform it into something magical. Kefir differs from yogurt in more than just consistency. Kefir grains contain a whole microbial community, with over 10 times more microbe varieties than yogurt. All these contribute different complex chemicals that influence the flavours. What is also special is that they form a community structure around a complex sugar that the microbes produce themselves. It is this special mix of bacteria, fungi, and the unique sugar backbone in kefir that produces a durable commune of microbes that work together. Mild, commercial brands probably have less diverse microbes than homemade kefir, which which is very easy to make. One study compared the microbes in traditional versus commercial kefir and reassuringly found a similar number of microbe species, although the traditional brews had a stronger potential action against other infectious microbes. Despite the lack of hard data and variability of each product, we should treat it as a super yogurt, for which the evidence is now pretty good and growing. Though fermented milk products are much better for our health than milk and taste delicious, they do still require litres of milk. Grass-fed, organic yogurt and fermented milks consumed as a healthy, regular dietary boost, but not in excess, may strike the right balance between health and the environment. Alternatively, as hinted at earlier, we may have to seriously consider non-dairy as the only truly viable option for the future.
John Lightbody was reading from Food for Life by Tim Spector. It was abridged by Rosemary Goring and produced by Naomi Walmsley. Crystal Hefner spent almost 10 years of her life inside the Playboy Mansion after meeting the magazine's founder, Hugh Hefner, when she was 21. Crystal will be talking to Woman's Hour this morning about her time spent at the mansion and her experiences of beauty standards and objectification. That's in a couple of minutes.
On BBC iPlayer,
Good morning, Mumbai.
India, the fastest growing major economy in the world, with Mumbai at its heart.
If you compare it to New York, you might call it the Big Mango.
A place where fortunes can be made.
The Mumbai, the city that allows you to be ambitious.
I love fashion, I love clothes, I love an individualistic style.
There's much more money. The young are making much more money.
Lots of money.
I went and bought my mother a house.
The streets are gold in Mumbai.
I think Mumbai believes in working hard and playing harder.
Watch on BBC iPlayer.
BBC News at 10 o'clock. Dental leaders have welcomed new measures from the government to try to improve access for patients in England to NHS care. So grant reform is needed. The government has set out plans for bonuses for dentists to take on new patients and initiatives like teeth cleaning in schools and dental vans in isolated areas. The Shadow Health Secretary, Wes Streeting, says the plan should have been more ambitious.
What it doesn't do, and what the dentists are crying out for, is reform of the dentist contract so we can recruit and retain the NHS dentists we need. And frankly, if they're not doing it now, after 14 years of Conservative government, and they're saying, oh, well, we'll do contract reform after the general election, well, why should anyone believe them when this was in their 2010 manifesto?
The US Secretary of State Antony Blinken is having talks with Israeli and Palestinian officials to try to negotiate a ceasefire in Gaza. Hamas said it is giving its response to a photograph proposal. Israel and the United States are said to be reviewing it. Ukraine says large-scale Russian drone and missile attacks have killed at least 4 people. In Kyiv, 3 people died and 21 were injured when 2 high-rise blocks of flats were badly damaged. Parts of the capital are without electricity. Campaigners are taking the government to court, saying it failed to stop chicken manure polluting the River Wye. They say a rapid expansion in chicken farming in the area has led to worsening water quality. The environment agency said anyone breaking the law will be prosecuted. The Prince of Wales returns to royal duties today with an investiture at Windsor Castle and a charity dinner this evening at the London Air Ambulance. His father, the King, is taking some time off after being diagnosed with an undisclosed type of cancer. And latest figures from the Halifax suggest average UK house prices jumped by 1.3% in December. It's the fourth month in a row that it's gone up. Halifax says a recent reduction in mortgage rates is boosting competition. BBC News. Inside Health this afternoon will visit the UK's first long COVID clinic to find out what we've learned about the condition over the last 3 or 4 years and whether we're any closer to seeing an end of it. Inside Health is at 3:30 this afternoon. Now, Woman's Hour with Emma Bond.
Good morning and welcome to the programme. Today I've been thinking about fortuitous meetings with my first guest today, who's a successful British businesswoman, Emma Green, who made it to Forbes' list of wealthiest self-made women after partnering with the Kardashians on their clothing brands and other things, which we'll get to, driving Kim Kardashian's Skims business to the huge success it is today. today, as well as co-founding Khloe Kardashian's clothing company, The Good American. More of that shortly. She's now back in the UK preparing for an appearance on Dragon's Den. But it was around 2015 that the woman from East London proposed the idea for a denim company to the matriarch of arguably America's most famous modern family, Kardashian mum and manager Kris Jenner, having met her at Paris Fashion Week.